Hello everybody, it's Jay Brayton here with another episode of Dominions 5. This is turn 13? I'm going to say 13. Battling Glade Woods, which is the province with the enemy palisade in it. So they got over 20 PD here. And this guy retreated. Good job. Fungwood, we made the Reveler retreat. Now, in retrospect, an issue with setting guys to fire archers against Pythium is that nearly all of LA Pythium stuff, and I mean we just happened upon a province with guys with javs as well, but nearly every one of LA Pythium's troops carries a javelin or plumbatus serpentis, so it's actually not terribly advantageous to fire archers. Because although we're going to get this guy, or nearly get him, and he may or may not have died on retreat, that doesn't, it wouldn't bode well for fighting anyone else. So as you can see, they're now firing crossbows at these random militiamen. Anyway, so those guys died, so be it. TC, we got some air gems. Fenetice, which is one of the provinces we just took over, I think. Yeah, up here. We got some extra unrest, but nothing too major. And in whichever the hell province it was, this one here, Chilad, there was no attack. Now, I'm not sure whether to attack into Glade Woods, Pythium, or Zaburia, and this is a possibly game-losing move, no matter which way we cut it. So, if we attack into Zaburia, that means we don't fight all the stuff in Pythium, which is like 130 guys, which would be a struggle to fight, regardless of how we went about it. If we attack into Glade Woods and this guy move patrols with everything, which I believe they can because this is a plains woods, and if we have a look at a similar kind of setup, so plains woods, it's 14 away. So as we know from last turn, Palatine had a 14 map move, so everything in this province more or less is going to be able to go to 116. I can't attack Zaburia in the magic phase, which would be the way to break any movement between 157 and 116, because it would be the only valid path that would get everything over there. So we can't cut the movement that way, which would be a good way to guarantee that if we're attacking with Yanlo and also fully thundering over the steppes. If I'm going to rename this guy, cutting about your village. Right. Yeah, so if we had some way to break this, then we could definitely go into 116 and they couldn't do anything about it. But yeah, we're currently in a kind of awkward position where we can rush it and go into 116, and they maybe attack or they maybe keep patrolling on their capital. We would be fighting here if you have a look with... let's call it the best part of 80 barbarian heavy horse. That'd be the actual, doing the real fighting. Versus, 130 enemy units potentially. Can we really kill 2 per? It's a difficult one. It's a difficult question. Guanyin is leading another 26. So, yeah, part of me is tempted to attack 138. Then again, if he is playing like a 200 IQ move, if he put all his troops in 138, then it wouldn't matter which we went for, whether we went for Pythium or whether we went for Glade Woods, because he would be able to counterattack into that province. So it's possible that he would just put everything there. In fact, that's probably what I would aim to do, just because that would secure me 2 forts almost certainly. I also don't know what Upguard's doing, because we don't have any scouts in this province. So I don't know if they're massing for an attack. I doubt it, but you just never know. I also don't know how many troops Jomon has about the place, which is a problem. Another alternative is we go back up north. We send cutting about your village up here. We potentially go into Fungwood afterwards. There are some valuable provinces up here. Ulm is basically crippled. They got a really shitty start, so they're not going to do anything. They're just going to die to Utgard relatively soon. So yeah, it's a difficult one. I also don't know if Jomon is attacking. In fact, I'm just going to ask him on the good old Discord if he's about. Are you about? Sorry, this is possibly the worst way to deliver content. I apologise. He isn't online because of course he isn't. Right. Let's go for it. Let's go for this potentially game-losing attack into Gladewood. We're going to have it set up so we have attack rear on these guys. Attack on these ones, yeah. Attack rear on these ones as well. Maybe hold an attack. I'm not sure there's any real advantage to hold an attack over attack on this army. Let's put these in a stupid line because that's pretty memey. Let's move these guys back a little bit. Let's get us on sparse line then. If he's got fire like nearest orders, we won't have to worry too much about that. Let's get all of these guys in there. Let's get this guy here. Let's see how we do. Because these guys have javelins, they don't have like longer ranged bows, so potentially, you know, we're not likely to take too many casualties basically from missile fire, so it's not too much of a concern having guard commander on this guy. Right, so his Great Sage is awoken, so we can expect some relatively some battle magic relatively soon. Moving Laojun down here, building a lab there. We are building some extra walkie shoes over here. In fact, I might as well give this guy some gems ahead of time. The basic plan is to cast Legions of Steel a couple of times in a fight. Conservative. And sort of see if that helps just even a teeny tiny bit extra, because that'll probably be for when we're fighting Pythium on their capital. I don't know if Pythium is going to go all out and just like try and attack back into me. If he does, it's probably going to be more interesting. If he doesn't, or if he just masses up in here, we're in trouble. Basically we want to break up his formation as much as possible, because we do not want to be fighting 130 guys at once. That's a little bit risky. I don't know. See, the other thing is that as soon as I submit this, it's going to go. So, got to make the right decision here. It's a fairly final move. Right, got Paolo moving into here. So next turn, there's going to be another 10 ancestor vessels, and let's call it another overall 38 units. That's pretty useful. If we take this, which would be great, then we should be fine. If we don't, we're going to be in trouble. But it's unlikely that we're going to have nowhere to retreat to, since I can't imagine he would have some kind of remote striking force that could take out everything in the Hidden Realm. In fact, you know what, just to make that super extra certain, this guy stay behind troops, so I have these 5 on guard commander. This guy's got a couple on guard commander already. Love these guys on attack orders. Go for attack rear, so it's pretty safe. Right, I'm going to commit this with some hesitation, and we'll see how it goes. This might be an absolutely horrible move. No way of knowing. Into here we're sending the Mallorca's green men. These guys have got relatively good stats. compared to vanilla, since I made Merrow's slightly improved combat-wise. They're more like amphibious Furbolg in that respect, rather than being what they were, which was just overpriced and with no combat advantage compared to any Atlanteans or Tritons. Anyway, let's call it here. What are we recruiting here? Master of the Way. I'd rather probably have nothing than a Master of the Way. Why am I building one? There would have to be a reason. We'll have a Khan and a Ceremonial Master, and we'll spend the rest on Barbarian Heavy Horse. Bring that up to 10. There's no real advantage to doing that, but if we can bring it up to 11, it protects against some bad events even without leaving anything in the province. We'll take Noth as well, just to act as... In fact, no, we'll have him patrolling. That was a good idea. Because that way, if this guy uses anything like the Call of the Winds attack, it's just a little bit extra security that something might survive. Right. Let's move this guy here. This guy's coming down there. Just try and get a more accurate head count. Move up towards Ebis with this guy to get a better reckoning of what the who the provinces here belong to, basically. Because if these are both Pythium, then we may be onto a good thing. I'm moving this guy down to 20 because I assume Utgard's going to attack one of these provinces, and I'd like to get a picture of it if possible, just to see what he's looking like. If I recall correctly, his Bless is Regen and Chill Aura, which is both relatively strong against Ulm, because if they're using rangers rather than great swordsmen, they are going to be doing relatively low increments of damage to his giants. Right, I think we've done about as much as we can over here. Oh, we saw the Bless on Agartha over here as well, which is delightful. So we've got regen, we've also got undead regen, blood surge, fire shield, map move, very nice, and fortitude. This is a horrendously expensive Bless, and I'm not entirely sure how he's afforded it. Maybe he's got a rainbow god of some kind over in Agartha. That's why I'm moving this guy over here. If it's a they're called an acolyte of the... No, not they're called a leader of the closed council, I think, which is like a slightly higher hit point rainbow compared to most you'd be dealing with. So maybe we can try and induce some kind of fight between them, because Abyssia with all of its assassins could possibly help us out against Agartha, because we don't want to fight that. Basically, if we can help fighting that, then all the better. Right, I'm going to stop being a scaredy cat. I'm just going to submit the turn. Hopefully it goes well. There's no real need to move this guy over there. In fact, we'll move these here. If we don't succeed in this attack, then having scout cover on it probably won't be too important. And if we do, then having more cover here is probably useful. Hopefully Germon's attacking as well, and we can kind of close the noose in on Pythium, but yeah, we shall see. This guy might just be redeploying everything here out of spikes. He knows that I'm likely to attack here, and people, without being like boastful or anything about it, people quite like to scalp me, because at the end of the day I was the guy who made the balance mode, right? So if you can get that guy, that proves you got some chops. Anyway, leave this guy here, see if anyone attacks, submit the turn. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. Fingers crossed, everyone. Hello everybody, it's Jay Brayton here, straight away after the last one. This is turn 14, it must be, if it's late spring. Right, so we attacked into Blue Waters and lost, tragic. We attacked into Glade Woods, we'll see the battle in a second. They attacked into Fenetice and lost badly, because there's just a lot of stuff in there. We've got a thing in Zoglia where apparently a famine has struck. Apparently there's some profits. I don't know. I suppose bad omens may lead to Professor Woe were right, fair enough. Some stupid flipping dogs attacked. Very annoying. Helmshire, we got something good though. We got a blood pendant. And we got, I mean, this is just a nice item. There's nothing particularly fancy about it, it's just good to have. We've also got our palisade finished over here, which is always good. This guy is going to do nothing right now, I suppose. He's just going to have to search again. I would preach with them, but because I'm an idiot, I would probably forget that he's preaching, and then I would forget to, you know, properly... hey, look. I think there might be some drama kicking off between the AI and Agartha, which is bad luck for Agartha. Sorry, that's me completely gone on a tangent. Yeah, basically, because I'm not very smart, I like to have my guys searching again on a province if they, if it's one that will be useful but isn't yet, because I haven't got the money for it. So, in the capital, Lautze is picking up these dudes. I suppose we'll go into the Sea Dogs. Get that back, because it's always useful to have an extra source of pearls and air gems, especially in LA. Apparently, Ulm hadn't even taken this yet, which is funny. There you go. Good expansion, dude. So yeah, I would have to assume that guard is moving in sooner rather than later. I don't know what their lance is doing. I mean, whatever. God love them. Over here, there was a big battle, as was partly anticipated. They brought one of their Tribuni, who are like a good commander with inspirational. They're genuinely quite helpful. These guys will get rinsed by combator strikes, but in the first instance we deal just a ton of damage with their lances. So basically, the longer this fight goes on, it's pretty ugly for both sides, because they've got massive encumbrance, especially on the Palatina. But our armour, although pretty good, is not like amazing. So a broadsword has, let's call it, 20% odds to kill a TC heavy horseman, once you factor in like bleeding damage and so on. And we're looking at roughly similar odds on our lance strike, but much lower with a falchion and so on. Anyway, basically, as soon as one line of ours dissolves and the next one makes contact, we then smash through a little bit more, and so on and so forth. There's nothing too much like fancy about this, because this is like baby idiot combat, where it's just guys with weapons hitting each other, and nothing fancy going on. But yeah, this is sort of what I anticipated. But he committed many less troops than I thought. So they did not commit all their Centurions and Tribuni, they did not commit all their Competenze and Palatina, because I think if they had, they might actually have won. Because, I mean, although we're getting down to the dregs here, we have had a lot of force around at this point, even with relatively high morale scores. So, yeah, we got a little bit lucky here. At least some of this stuff is going back into the fort. So the inside of the fort is going to contain... Actually, maybe not. Maybe not. Because this is all PD that survived. Yeah, it might be alright then. So the inside of the fort is going to be the fort defenders that LA Pythium has, plus roughly half of these guys. So we'll say one of these commanders and probably one of the Competenze as additional troops. It's not a great sieging force we've got left. We've got 48 siege power, but these guys are moving in, and this is going to add another, what, let's call it 50. So over the course of the next turn, I don't think he can really do very much to like attack this, because there's not going to be anything in range. We have like a similar, again, let's go for a similar sort of distance thing, so he would have to be moving into an enemy enemy forest from 2 planes. So let's see if we can do anything similar. I suppose this will probably be roughly analogous, maybe not quite, maybe it'd be 20 rather than 18, but yeah. So 18 means that he can't get there with competency in 1 turn. So from that perspective we are looking good, which is great for us. So we'll get this smashed in, we'll kill everyone inside, and then we'll go from there. If he'd have brought the competency from here, we could well have lost. So I'm glad he didn't. Pretty glad he didn't. Let's do a quick risorgimento. Let's get this done. Get these lads there. Fully thundering over the steps. Let's get this guy preaching. He's only adding, what, 2 siege power? Yeah, 2.3 siege power. So he's not doing a huge amount. And the additional dominion is going to mean that we have 2 morale relative advantage compared to if we didn't. Right, this guy's researching. Nearly there. Nearly at enchantment 3. It's not going to be too long. Got what? How many are remaining? Can we make 3 RP up anywhere? I don't know. I doubt it. This would be another relatively good location for a fort as well. Might be worth thinking about for when it comes to fort number 4. Obviously, because of the amount of infrastructure we have to lay down for our own forts, it's slightly more costly relative to a lot of other factions. But we're not at like Gath levels where it's just unbelievably expensive, but nor are we at Arcos Gefle levels where it's outrageously cheap. So we're somewhere in the middle. More kind of Bandar log grade, or Patala in this era, I suppose. Right, what else are we doing here? So we can see the enemy has a few provinces over here. Still, we know this has like 20 odd, a bit more than 20 PD in it. This still has relatively low levels. I'm not that tempted to go smashing into it just yet. Actually, I say that, but that might actually be a really good idea. So I'll get this guy going over here. Get him attacking straight away. If he moves his troops down, potentially we can do quite a lot of damage. If he doesn't, then it's free province, and it basically seals it off from oh god, feeling like they're somewhat entitled to it. So yeah, from that perspective it's probably quite a good idea. Now, how are we going to win the game from this position? How many thrones do we need? 7. 7 of 12. Alright, so 1 there, got 1 there, this one here, probably this one here, and then we'll go from there. Still got a way to go. Still got a way to go. Luckily we move relatively quickly, although we don't have good access to H3. We are going to have to take Blue Waters at some point and basically hope that Agartha is pretty chill about just having a guy who is an enemy but with a water province. I don't know, maybe he won't consider us an enemy, but I consider them one, so it'd only be fair to think about it that way. Right. Turn them up, move over, lay off. I mean, if he puts all of his gold into here, let's say he's going to have what? Densely populated. So, let's say in total he has what? 750 income? Maybe? 750 is like what, 30 odd PD. Really don't know. Unremarkable province. Okay, so it's got like 6,000 people in it. Because if you have a look at our own, kind of similar. Yeah, unremarkable. I don't know. I'd be pretty spiteful, but it might do it. Just might do it. Gonna leave one guy here, just sieging. The reason for that is because if you have someone only preaching, they do not contribute to the amount of siege that's going on. And if for any weird reason, like he got assassinated, which I don't anticipate happening, but you just never know because we are playing against someone with assassins. If our prophet got assassinated and there was nothing at all there, it would rebuild the siege damage that's been suffered. So at the moment we've got 48, so we can assume they are down to, let's call it 60. These guys all have a couple each, so 20, well, let's call this 25 plus, let's call it 50, 55 odd across the entire force. It's probably getting there in terms of siege power, and then if we just take this province and there's no like major problems taking it, then at the very least we've got the extra turn we're going to need for it. And there is less chance of getting interrupted by anything. I think this is a reasonable way to go about it. Alright, so for this turn we're just moving this guy into here, attacking this province, moving these guys down, building a palisade in here, maybe controversially, but the cedar pillars is worth keeping, and on that basis I think it's probably not a bad idea. I don't know how aggressive Boeing is. He used to be reasonably aggressive, but I haven't seen him in a game in like 4 years, so I don't know. It's impossible to tell. Anyway, I suppose we'll call this one here, see what mercs are available to bid. None of these... oh, shipwreckers. 41 men? How the hell's that happened? That can't be right. Because normally the shipwreckers start off with 30. So I don't know how he's obtained another 11. Is that some kind of visual bug? I don't know. Maybe I'll ask Jomon specifically about this in a Discord chat, and I will overlay the results here. I don't know where their PG is either. Unless they are doing the most unbelievably memey thing and like putting, well, it's not even memey, it would just be sagacious, frankly, to put like a Cauldron of the Elven Halls on him, or like a gossamer cloth. That would also be pretty good. Just some source of making that unit specifically invisible would be a reasonably pro-gamer move. Right, sorry, I said I'd end it, but I'm not. The reason for that is that regardless of whether this guy moves or not, we're not going to be able to research enchantment 3 next turn, so the temptation is to move this guy down and have a bit of a sight search about. Got Master of the Way popping out for research purposes, boo shucks, but hey, we do what we have to. Got a scout as well. And I guess we will call it there-ish. I don't know. Let's get these collected, get these collected. It's going to be 8 by the time he gets in there. It's all very well and good. I think this is a reasonable plan going into there. Even if he attacks with all 30 units, so long as we can Get these guys attacking rear as well. We should be able to deal with it at least a little bit. Might just leave him here just to try and get a more accurate head count on the troops and see if he's getting anything like special, like if he changes his cult or anything. In fact, we can search by pressing I, can't we? Okay, so it's the Eddy of Death and Rebirth. He's got the Water and Death cult. So I doubt we'll see any Elictors, although that would be fun. Not even so much as a Baiacus Canis, but yeah, Spring Year 1, so he's just gone over to the Death cult. So we may see him massing up some undead troops, we may not. Be interesting to see either way. Alright, thank you very much for watching. Been Jay Brereton. This really is the end. Take care, have a wonderful weekend, goodbye, thank you.